Our mayor once said on national television that more people would leave Fresno if they could, but they can't because their shoes are stuck in the asphalt. A beautiful area, but it's really hot in the summer. So one of the real keys to watering and irrigation in the summer is not to overdo it. If I had the choice of whether to overwater or underwater, I'd rather slightly underwater. Overwatering, especially when you have high temperatures, creates all kinds of problems. The first step is to make sure that you need to water. Get involved in some way with your garden. Either use your hands and dig in there and feel it and have a sense of whether it needs to be watered or not. Another tool that you can use is a soil probe, which I use a lot, and it works very effectively at giving you an idea of the soil moisture. You never want it to be soaking wet or saturated wet. You always want it to be pleasantly moist. Almost all advice you'll hear is water infrequently and water deeply. And that's kind of pretty good advice, but I think there's lots of circumstances, or several circumstances, where that's not accurate. If it's a brand new landscape during hot season, then you're not going to want to emphasize deep watering because there will be no deep roots. Everything will be right on the surface. These will be plants that you just installed, and so your challenge is to keep these new root balls moist. So actually you're going to do shallow watering and frequent shallow watering, but not for long periods of time. Nothing is more lethal for plants than too much water and hot temperatures. So if it's a very heavy soil, then we know we do want to do infrequent deep watering. If it's a light soil, then we're not going to do as deep a watering because that water we know is just flushing right through. So we want to keep the top moist. So we'll probably have to do more frequent waterings, but depending on how deep our roots are, maybe we don't let it run as long. I have a park strip at my house that has nothing but trees in it and a small gravel. And so in those trees, they're deeply rooted. I don't need to water very often. I set the controller to water that like every 3 or 4 weeks, and I do water very deeply and very infrequently. Your lawn watering system needs to be really, really top-notch. It needs to be working perfectly in order to keep a green lawn when the temperatures get over 100 degrees. And working perfectly on a lawn means you need to have head-to-head coverage. That means the spray or the pattern of one sprinkler has to actually go to the other head, not just to the spray of the other head. So that's called complete double coverage, and that's important in the design. You separate the valves so that full sun gets separate valve from lots of shade so that you can water each zone the right amount. What you try to do is do the right spacing on the sprinklers, but sometimes no matter how hard you try, you end up with areas where it's getting less water. And the MP rotator is really useful because it's easy to add heads and solve that problem without using a lot more water. So a real simple solution is we just dug up that sprinkler and found the pipe that was on, and we put another sprinkler right by it with a very small little nozzle. And MP rotators have this tremendous range of gallonages that it puts out. So we added the orange nozzle. In this case, at this pressure, it only is putting out about 0.3 to 0.4 gallons per minute, so very small amount of water, and it only sprays 5 or 6 feet, so it's spraying right in the dry spot. We put that in, and within a week, no more dry spot, no impact really, because we're hardly using any more water than we were before. you'll see spots that are not the same vibrant green, and that usually is a sign of water stress. Usually they're a gray color. They don't go from green to brown. They usually go from green to gray to brown. So if you're watching carefully and you see green to gray to brown, it usually means water stress, not a fungal disease or not any type of other disease. One of the secrets is to mulch the soil. It protects the soil. It really allows the soil to build life more quickly. We've noticed a big difference when we use our products, if we use mulch after we use the products, or if we leave the soil bare and allow that heat to bear down on it and water to pound on it. That mulch is a really good protective layer. I advocate for coarser mulches because they stay put better. This big red Japanese maple here was burning extensively every summer until we changed the whole protocol here at this garden, where they're using completely different garden products. Before, it was all merit to kill bugs and fungicide to kill fungus, which they had both had a lot of in the summer. We addressed both of those by changing it over to soil-based gardening. And so by building life in the soil, we've changed the soil around this Japanese maple. And this Japanese maple now goes through the summer without burning. I'm here with Chip Valentino, who hates the heat. He likes to just lay around in the shade when it gets over 80 degrees. So we need to help Chip along on these summer days and plant big spreading deciduous trees to cast that shade for him.